Hello and welcome back to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide, Elpy. This is worm bin number 2, and I fed them yesterday, and this bin is actually, I'm going to be moving it towards harvesting castings, half of the castings in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, I'm not here for them. But I fed them yesterday. However, today is the day that I'm gathering blue worms for my new blue worm bin. I did a very long recording for mixed worm bin number 1 and a more average one for mixed bin 3. I'm obviously going to edit down, but that's interesting. So I got 32 worms, 32 blue worms in here. So far, while I was also trying to go through that bin and its feedings. Focus. Camera doesn't want to focus. Anyways. And I think I'd be better off coming into this bin to try and get the rest. I wanted to get 100 to 200. I don't have as many blue worms as I do others. So I believe this is going to be a bit of a task. This guy's not very active if he's a blue worm. But it is as dark as I would expect a blue worm to be, and they do have some yellow. Since I have any question, we're not going to take it, even though I do think that's a blue worm. All right, so I'll record some of this while I try to get, we're going to try to just get 100. I've got 32 right now in there. And so one of the things, I like blue worms. I think they're beautiful. I think they're cool. I've always thought they break stuff down pretty well. And the reason I say that is because I started with a European nightcrawler bin and mixed worms. At that time, at least, I don't know about now, but when you would order worms from Uncle Jim's farm, you'd get red wigglers as well as blue worms and European nightcrawlers in your mix. And that didn't bother me. Oh, good catch. That is a cocoon, and I don't want that. I tried really hard not to get, but the lighting wasn't that great. I guess I didn't try hard enough. This is new material, but, you know, some of the worms had stuff stuck to them. So I'm glad I caught that, because that could have been not a blue, most likely. Anyway, so I wound up with blue worms, and I found that population really broke stuff down even better. And of course, I do believe that the blue worms died off more in the winter. My bins are indoors in the basement. This is definitely one. Mine are very skinny. This is a beautiful, beautiful blue one. 32. I said 31, right? Or did I say 32? No, okay, that's 33. Luckily, I wrote it down. If I have more, then that's... Well, I do want, because I want to know if they're breeding. So they're in the basement, and it's a not heated basement. I mean, it's sort of heated, I guess. We're at 33. 34. I believe this is one. See how it moves? 35. 35. Let me write this down. So my concern for this bin, if I can, if I have to, gosh, I like talking half sentences and move on to the next before I'm finished with the first. My concern for this bin is that in the winter, they won't have the aid of the red wigglers and others that are keeping the bin broken down, and metabolism, the act of metabolizing things, gives off heat as a byproduct. So I think that most actions give off heat as a byproduct. He's kind of slow for a blue worm, but he's also trying to get into the crack of my finger. I'm 98% certain this is a blue worm. $36. So my concern is that I'm starting to be a little bit intimidated by this plan of mine, and how well they will or won't do on their own in my environment, especially in the winter when the temperatures drop. And that's where I cut myself off to say, if need be, and if I can, I'll move them upstairs somewhere in the house, out of the way, to where they will stay warm. But I want to see how the blue worms do on their own. The thing about blue worms is that they are a tropical species. Interesting that is pretty sure not a blue worm, but it's moving rather quickly. is blue worms don't typically have that yellow tip of a tail. I've seen yellow on them, but not. Is it possible for these worms to interbreed? But yeah, so that's just my concern with this experiment is, well, that's the point of the experiment. How will they do? So I'm at 36. And as I was, you probably won't see that video. You might see this one first. I'm not going to record my hunting for them. I don't think I should, because I think it's going to take far too long to get 100 of them. So it's interesting to see how few of blue worms I actually have. I do believe it is most likely related to the temperature in these bins. And that, I used to collect coffee grounds regularly, and I'm thinking that I'm going to go back to that because they're a high source of nitrogen that can help keep the temperature up. So, all right, we're at 36, and I want a minimum of 100. They can be any size. Here's 37. So I'll probably go ahead and finish collecting them, and then come back and we'll put them all in together. 38. I think this one's a blue one, but the other one's not. The other one's a baby of something else. 39. All right. So I'll be back. Okay, guys. I'm only at 43, and I didn't want to disturb that feeding zone. But I think I'm glad I'm doing this experiment because I don't think I have the it's showing me, and also just feeling in here again that it's way cooler, way colder. I think that my temperatures are not enough to sustain as big of a blue worm population as I've had before. Not that I've had a massive blue worm population, but I'm really surprised just how difficult it is to find more blue worms. And I believe it's a temperature thing, and I think that makes all the sense in the world. So how do we do that? This is 44. How do we change that? Well, I can either keep the bins in a warmer place, warm this area more with the heater, which I'm not going to do. There's a cocoon. Space heaters are dangerous, and it's not that important to me, because the worms themselves survive. The populations go up and down. But yeah, this bin I might take upstairs where it's warmer. Also, you can try and insulate the bin, put something around it. You can also try and heat it up by feeding more nitrogen. There's another cocoon. Foods with a higher nitrogen, which would be coffee grounds, that I can think right off the top of my head. Let me know if you know of other ways to heat up the bin, keep it warmer. In the past, I've actually done quite well at keeping the bins pretty high in terms of their temperature, and coffee grounds was definitely one way of doing that. So I need to get back to collecting coffee grounds, and it's good to know that even now, still in September, that I'm going to need to actively work to, we say 46, to maintain a blue worm population. So just a little note there, and now I'll get back to hunting. Okay, so I'm at 50, but I just want to show, look at cocoon, 2 cocoons. And again, we're still in mixed worm bin 1. And there was another one I found, but there. These guys are definitely breeding. They're definitely enjoying this bin, which is awesome. But my blue worms aren't a huge population in here, but another cocoon right there at my thumb. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Okay, I said 50. Okay, I'm up to 61. I found a nice little pocket of them. That guy in that upper left corner. It's not moving much. Doesn't appear to be moving at all. He was moving when I caught him, so. But I'm at 61. Ooh, that one was barely moving. Found a nice little pocket of them down here. This is worm bin 1. Makes sense that they would be hanging out together. So I'm feeling better because I was about to quit it, because I do have other stuff to do. I was about to quit at 50. But let's see, we'll go a little bit longer. What did I say, 61? Yeah, see, they're hard to catch. 62. I'm going off of their color as well as their movement, because they don't always look super blue, but their movement really gives them away. And I've noticed mine always are really stringy looking, and they're serious about getting away. So we're at 62. All right, I'll go back to not recording. Okay, we're back at bin number 2. I'm at 65. I didn't want to get into the feeding zone, but I think I'm going to have to. Yesterday's feeding zone. I might quit at 70, maybe collect some at a later date, because I've got other stuff I have to do. I did not anticipate this was going to be this difficult. I see a cocoon in here. Okay. I'll just kind of stir things up again in here, and I might even quit at 65, you guys, because this is taking so long. Mm-hmm. 66. All right, I'll go to 70. I'll be back. All right, sadly, I went ahead and called it at 67 because I had charged my phone enough, I thought, to do this, but apparently not. So my batteries died, and I was also using the light to help me find so this is the bin that I started 5 days ago. This is some burdock from outside, and I put a lot of soil in there from outside, so it's very, very grainy. I see there's a bunch of, I think I put some okra in here. There's already a bunch of fruit fly maggots in here. Not a surprise. This is a zinnia flower. So I got way more soil, because these guys are compost worms, remember, than I knew I was pushing it. But and I put this cardboard on the bottom. I'm going to keep it kind of over in that corner. What I've decided I'm going to do, I have a very, very small feeding, which I only have 67. These are old kind of dried up diced peppers and eggplant. I am going to, I'll feed in this corner with the cardboard. I am going to add, a lot more wet shredded paper that I have. And I think I'm going to put it in the corner with this cardboard. Hopefully I don't kill these worms. Hold on. All right, I only squeezed off a little bit of the water off of these, so that's really moist. And I know the point was to inoculate the bin, and I did inoculate the bin, so adding this new material is not going to be the end of the world. I'm just going to stir it up. I'm all like nervous about this now. I'm like, I don't know if it's, I thought it was going to be exciting, and now it doesn't feel exciting. So here we go. So just put this old plastic, or not plastic, paper plate in here. I probably will, actually. Just over in the corner or something. Okay, so here we go. Very small feeding. Is the soil, why am I acting like the soil is going to like hurt them? It's not like outside they can't exist under leaf litter where there's soil, you know, but I guess my brain is just kind of like, yeah, but they're not used to it. See, there's some pepper that got over here. So it's a very small amount. And I'm putting that in there for fun. Okay. I'm also going to add more water. That's a lot. I know. Is that too much, you think? I guess we'll find out. That toilet paper roll needs to be wet, or paper towel roll needs to be wet anyways. And I just want to make sure it's really nice and squishy for these guys. I know I kind of crushed up that paper towel roll. So mix up this water a little bit. All right, 67 blue worms is all I've got. Forgot I can go wider now that I don't have my light on. To add here. Let's go ahead. There's one left in there. Where are all his compadres? Dang, shadow. So that's apparently I can feel them squirming on my hand. Well, yeah, so there we have it. There's some more in there. We're not going to sit here and watch them go down. I'm just going to cover them up. Oh, sorry, you got left out. Some of them are really, really small and don't really look mature. Some of them do. Some of them definitely looked bluer than others. And I don't attest to be a blue worm, like professional blue worm identifier. You might well, I knew, I was like, where'd he go? Look at, there's like a bunch of them on my glove. I don't attest to be a blue worm expert by any means. So, when I don't know when they're about to drop a cocoon. Oh my gosh, dude. If they, if their clitellum bulges like the other worms, their clitellum can kind of look bulgy even when, it just doesn't look super bulging, I think. I might be saying that wrong. When, we should put this, since this is technically food, a burdock leaf, we should kind of bury it in case they want to eat it. So we'll see. I've added 67 blue worms to this new bin. I'm going to sort of cover them up more because I'm going to put this dry cardboard worm blanket and we'll see if they don't like this, if they're going to take off, you know, as blue worms are said to do, if they're going to be like, whoa, we were in an optimal environment with other worms and a lot of decomposition happening. And, you know, we'll see. But I am going to leave this light on for a couple hours. And, yeah, guys, wish them luck. I hope this goes well. You saw I barely put any food in there, but there's also barely any worms in there. The problem being my concerns are the temperature, number one. And since there are fruit fly maggots in there, they might eat the food. So, probably for the sake of this bin, I've needed to get mosquito bits, but this bin I might need to make it a super priority to get mosquito bits for this bin, and or just make sure I add even more food. No, better to get the mosquito bits. But so for sure, today is the 18th of September. It's a Wednesday, and I've added 67 worms because I had a heck of a time. I did not anticipate having as much trouble finding the blue worms as I did. I don't know how much time I've spent trying to find the 67 that I found, but it's way more time than I meant to spend. So,
Temperature is my concern with this bin. And I know that these worms are kind of picky. I've not had any issues with them in the other bins, but they've also had other worms that are keeping stuff moving and breaking down and warm. So if these guys get too cold in here, then they'll probably want to crawl out. But it's dry, so I would think they aren't going to try to, I don't know. I would think they're not going to try to, because there's not enough moisture. But so we'll see. I'm really hoping the best for this bin. We've got 67 worms. And I'll come back and I'll check on these guys at least for sure in a week. And probably give them even more food. The tricky part is that what they like, fruit flies like too. What they really like, the moist, foods, fruits and veggies of that kind. So there we have it. The new blue worm bin. It's in a green 18 by 15 by 11 inch container, plastic storage tub. No lid, just these worm blankets. I had spent 5 days with a whole lot of soil and some weeds from outside and wet shredded paper. I just added a bunch of water as well as more wet shredded paper as well as some diced up peppers and a couple of pieces of cut up eggplant. Not very much at all. Scraps really. I appreciate your time. I'd love to hear from you if you're a blue worm farmer, if you have any suggestions, advice, whatever, you want to just share your story. If you're a worm farmer, period, I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you're not a worm farmer, I'd still love to hear what you have to say too, and how you think this is going to go. These are tropical worms, so I should maybe get another thermometer for them. And I'm going to get some coffee grounds, and that should help heat up this bin. All right, I appreciate your time and your interest, your well wishes. Be safe, be well. Bye for now. This is the LP Dimension.